Join us right here on the Splash Live, consultant for early childhood at the District and School Services for Oakland Schools. We have Krista Shambleau. Thank you so much for being here first and foremost.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, so I want to just kind of first and foremost start off with you elaborating a little bit more about the primary goals of the GSRP, or the Great Start Readiness Program. Can you just get into that, please?
Sure. So the goals of GSRP are to provide high quality and free preschool for eligible 4-year-olds in Michigan, including West Bloomfield. And it benefits the community by offering a very safe place where children learn how to get along with others. They're making friends. They, of course, learn skills in various content areas, including math and reading, and they're involved in hands-on, very playful activities with very skilled teachers. And one important goal is just through those beautiful experiences to ensure that children enter kindergarten not only with these foundational skills, but also with a love of learning and a can-do spirit.
Okay. I'm gonna have to pick your brain a little bit more as we go on, Chris, because I have a 2 going on 3-year-old, so I definitely gonna need some more information from you. But just kind of getting a little bit more into the Great Start Readiness Program, how does the high scope preschool curriculum specifically kind of support the early childhood development?
Yeah, so in West Bloomfield, the GSRP program utilizes the high scope curriculum. The high scope curriculum has been around since the 60s. It's tried and true, and I'm a huge supporter of it and a trainer for high scope. In fact, teachers of GSRP in West Bloomfield come to trainings and they're very involved and keep their training alive. What the high scope curriculum does, it supports each child's learning and growth by first and foremost honoring children's current strengths, needs, and their interests. And then teachers using the high scope approach, it's such a thoughtful curriculum. They work with families and then they use their own daily observations to understand each child's current abilities in 8 domains of learning. And then they individualize or they tailor the curriculum by developing really interesting activities and having very responsive interactions with children during the school day that not only meet the child's current development, but they gently extend their development to higher levels. So I'll give an
There we
example.
go.
Let's say a family shares that their child has been helping to sort laundry at home. Okay. The skilled teaching team, and they work together as a team. There's 2 teachers in the classroom. They'll take that information and they'll design activities by blending children's interests with their learning. So the teachers may have observed that, let's say, children in their class have been really interested in using the toy dinosaurs. And they want to focus and extend the child's sorting abilities because that's the information they received, let's say, from the family. So they may offer dinosaurs in different shapes and colors and have children sort in different ways and extend that type of learning. So it's a beautiful curriculum. Children are eager and engaged in their learning activities, and they're playful and they're based on their interests. That's the key.
Without me even being a teacher, just being a parent, I know you want to kind of capture their attention by doing something that's fun that they already like to do, but then sneaking in some learning in there, or like you say, sneaking in some vegetables in there to kind of make them a little bit better. But join us right here on the Splash Live, a consultant for early childhood for Oakland schools. We have Krista Shambleau, just talking about the Great Start Readiness Program and how it's beneficial for our West Bloomfield kids here. Now, let's get into the teacher involvement, right? What type of strategies are being used by the Great Start Readiness Program teachers to kind of actively stay involved with these children?
Yeah, so what they do to remain actively involved with children is to observe them on a daily basis, like I mentioned. Young children's growth, especially for 4-year-olds, it's very rapid. And so regular observation of children's interests, their needs, their strengths is is really a must.
Okay.
Another way that teachers remain actively involved is by having that constant communication with family members. So the GSRP teachers respect the fact that children are developing primarily in the home context, and they
Mhm.
seek that important information from families that help them be then sensitive in their approaches.
Good.
So they're active constantly through observation, parent communication and contact, and their own reflection on what's working, and making sure that the program is working for each child.
Now, how do you feel like that directly affects the students' learning experience overall with that strategy being said?
Yeah, well, it impacts children's learning experience because each interaction and activity is customized and special for each child.
Hmm.
And so teachers are fitting the program to every single child based on, like I said, their interests, strengths, and needs. But being observant and being responsive has impacts on children's learning because teachers are in touch with what children need that day in
Right.
that moment. And it creates a sensitive climate for learning.
Yeah, yeah. And like I always say too, it's a village, right? We can't put the
Yeah.
responsibility of learning solely on our teachers. We as
Mhm.
parents actually have to have a role in that also. Can you talk about how parents can best support their children's learning and development who are part of the Great Start Readiness program?
You're right. It's a true partnership between home and school.
Correct.
I think parents can support their child's learning and development by having open communication with their child's teacher in the program.
Mm,
They can be supported by helping their child's teacher establish learning goals during the preschool year. So the teachers do seek input from families. And then also, trying out some simple strategies that are provided by the teaching team. So, for example, a teaching team may offer powerful tips on how families can share a book or a reading experience, and how it's important to talk about what's happening in the pictures of the book, to have
mm.
conversations while reading. So just staying connected with the teachers and the program. There's really so many opportunities for families to become involved in their child's learning. I think one of the most important ways to become involved is by participating in home visits and family conferences, which are offered through the GSRP program.
Okay.
Um, families are invited to share their gifts and talents. There's so many wonderful families in West Bloomfield who are encouraged and welcomed into the program to share, what they have, their resources. The program also hosts special events for families to socialize, to learn together about the program and receive parenting support. And
Good.
then there's also leadership opportunities too for families to join, where program decisions are made and they have a voice.
Good.
So lots of ways to be involved,
Yep.
with directly with the child and then throughout the program.
No excuses, parents. No excuses. That's what she basically just
Yeah.
said.
Right.
So
Lots of
many different
opportunities.
ways that you can get involved with the children at
Yeah.
the Great Start Readiness program. Last but not least, how do we know it's working? How are you measuring success and effectiveness and progress with the children who participate at the Great Start Readiness program?
Yeah, so we measure impact on a number of ways. Because teachers are observing children on a daily basis, they document those observations and they perform assessments on children from the beginning of the year all the way through to the end. And I just looked at, for example, West Bloomfield scores. So these scores are reported to the program and then to us, Oakland County. And in particular, West Bloomfield, it's impressive. They made huge strides and gains in the areas, well, in all areas, but especially in the areas of science, how children understand the natural and physical world. So we can look in
Nice.
actually in Oakland County, even the directors at West Bloomfield at any point in time, and see how the impact that they're making in learning.
Interesting. Okay, okay. Now we're
Yeah.
talking about a lot. I like that right there. Last but not least, just give people very, very briefly and quickly how they can learn more or sign their children up for the Great Start Readiness program here in West Bloomfield.
Yes, so we can't stress enough our care coordination line, and they can text or pick up the phone and call. And our number is 844-456-5555. 5437. And these care coordinators will listen to the families and fit them with a program that meets their needs. To be eligible for GSRP currently, I'll just give an example, like a family of 4 making about $124,000 a year is eligible. And there's also spaces for families with no income limits. So the number that I provided, you can text, you can, call that number. Once again, it's 844-456-5437. And not only will they help families locate a program in their area that meets their needs, but that line is also excellent for any parenting resources, any questions or concerns, and also to be connected with our developmental screening, which is the ASQ. So it's a wonderful hub. It's the Help Me Grow program through Oakland. And when they're calling Oakland County, but we will connect them to a West Bloomfield program if that's what they're needing.
Perfect, perfect. We appreciate your time. I could pick your brain as a parent for like 20 more minutes, but I got to let you go. We appreciate you so much again. Director, or I should say consultant for early childhood at the District and School Services for Oakland Schools, Krista Shambleau. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.